How's it going, my friends? It's been a little while here at Dorney Park. I wanted to kind of just take a stroll around the park and kind of check out, see what decorations are up for the haunt that's coming up in a week or two. It's really soon. And then also kind of check out and see if Iron Menace, how are things going with that? I know we have a whole year, or maybe not. Maybe it's going to be opening early in the season next year. But 2024, we have a date, a dive coaster at Dorney, and finally a new roller coaster. I'm excited for that. So invite you to come along. Let's go explore Dorney a little bit. All up and down, if you see these flags, they do have the haunt logo on top of them. So there are some decorations already. No scheduled shows for today. But what I have heard is that this is going to be the new main stage, and what stage was over by Hydra is not going to be utilized in the same way. So no Illuminators from what I have heard, and it's going to be singing and dancing happening up here. It's going to be quite the choke point for when everybody is entering, and this is probably where the event will officially start. On the other side of the carousel, they do have a big standing sign and decorations here for the Iron Menace. They do have some stats over here, actually. Can kind of give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into. It's very similar. It reminds me of Emperor a little bit, and also the Dr. Diabolicals over at Fiesta, Texas. Kind of somewhere between those two. It should be good. It should be a good fit for this park. I'm excited to follow along with these construction and any other sort of updates that come out. I should mention that up at that store at the front of the park, they do have a bunch of t-shirts with Iron Menace on them. Big, bold letters. I do like the logo design. And then 2024 on them. They're pretty basic for me, but I think that it's cool that they are supporting this with merch already. This Haunt monster truck is out. That's pretty great. Do any of you guys remember when they did do like a whole monster truck event at the park? I saw it once and I missed it, and you could actually ride in one of these. I kind of am unhappy that I missed out on that, because it seems like that would have been a cool experience. Anyway, usually this is a pretty cool photo op during the event. Further on down the midway, we have this, I guess this is a store of some kind, but it looks like, yeah, it's on the 15th that things start up. Maybe I'll attend opening night, but definitely opening weekend. Have not figured that out yet. Back here where Blood on the Bayou is, behind the Shoot the Chutes, and yeah, it looks decorated. I don't know if they leave these things that are strung up year-round. I highly doubt it. So it looks like, yeah, it's pretty much ready. Don't know how the inside could be, but there it is. As we make our way towards Hydra, I noticed that some of the ships and stuff that were set up by Possessed last year are now up here next to Hydra. Very interesting. So this now, I guess, is a new type of scare zone, I assume. No more dystopia up here like they had last year. There's the Protocol pub that was down by Possessed. And I guess, yeah, there's the sign confirming it. Over here is the Skeleton Crew stage. So the Skeleton Crew is replacing where Illuminators is. I guess they wanted to get the entertainment kind of up on this first floor, not down at the very bottom of the hill, because I guess it wasn't as well attended. That's my guess anyway. I feel like I saw pretty decent crowds though. They're still setting up the stage though, from what I can see, and I hope this means that they've maybe upgraded it a little bit. Hydra's sadly down right now. I really wanted to ride that. That is, I believe, the last roller coaster that was built here. I think that was back in 2005 or 2006. Hold on, passing by the speaker. People just making faces at me as I'm walking by here. But anyway, so I guess this is all pirate themed now right over here. So they spread out all the decorations and stuff. Gosh, I'm sorry about the speakers. This is pretty bad. So thankfully, I guess they've opened this up. Is this not going to be a clown themed space for the first time in like 4 years? Okay then. So I wonder where they're moving Carnival. Is Carnival still a thing? Did they get rid of Carnival? Oh, there goes another haunt sign. Let's keep going down this hill. So here's where Ghouling Organs was, and I guess from what I've heard, they've canceled this show and they've just been replaced by spooky decorations. Which is a shame. I know that they got rid of most of the seating for viewing in here, but still, it's kind of weird to see this, because that was a staple for the last few years. I've heard that there were some entertainment cuts, and I'm kind of wary of how that's going to play out. But we shall remain optimistic, I guess. We're approaching now the new location of Dystopia, and also the location, or kind of this walkway here, is where most of the scare actors will enter the event. They do have some sort of parade that isn't like specifically announced, but it does happen. So over there, actually, let's head on over here. I think they have the roadside chop shop or corn stalkers or whatever it's called right now. I've heard all the corn is still being set up. So there it is. So it's still going by roadside stop and shop, but there is lots and lots of corn. I overheard some people saying that they've spent basically a few days setting up all the corn. Actually, before we get too far, that is where all the scare actors are coming from. That's where the crypt is, where they all get set up. Interesting though. So this whole area is pretty much ready to go. It must be quite the endeavor, quite the production to get all this stuff moved in. So I wonder where they're going to put the misfits this year. Those are the people that were dressed up differently each week or every 2 weeks with new costumes. It was a very popular photo op. And they're going to have a bar in here as well, it seems. Okay, all right. I like that they've really utilized this space, though. This is actually, I feel like this is a really good traffic point, too. So have they gotten rid of the layer, then? That would actually be a big improvement, in my opinion. And just outside of Dystopia, or I guess kind of inside it, is Alfunda's house. I wonder how he feels about it. Now he's living inside Dystopia. I don't think he's been meeting and greeting at all this year, though. So heading straight through from there, it should be pretty nice connection here to the Hollow. And it seems like that's already decorated as well. Yeah, from what I can tell, there's a bunch of decorations missing. I think they kind of opened up this here. I'm not sure, though, because they did have some signs out prior. Maybe they're not done setting this up, but I remember it feeling a little more claustrophobic last year. I don't believe this was open last year, and maybe there's more props to come. Interesting, though, those doors, none of them seem like they're supposed to open. Maybe this one? I don't think so, though. I do remember there being like a fence or something like that in here. Maybe that's been their goal. The goal of theirs in general, though, is to open up these scare zones, because Carnival, sadly, was the opposite of that and was quite the choke point. I was hoping to get a clip of Possessed, and for that matter, Hydra, but both have been down. I just saw this one empty out an entire train after a big old buzz sound, so I don't know what they're about to do with this, but hopefully it's a couple of test runs. All right, so, but right next to Possessed, you will see that the walls are up. There are construction walls around the site that will have the Iron Menace in it next year. They do have a nice little bit of artwork here for the layout of it. So they have been very careful to announce that it is a more than vertical drop, 95, so 5 degrees more. The Immelman looks pretty cool. The thing that I'm kind of excited for, because I don't think I've experienced it, is the tilted loop and then the corkscrew on the way back. Oh, right, and the barrel roll. But yeah, so it seems like it's going to be Emperor Diabolical, Dr. Diabolical rolled into one. It's going to occupy this space actually really well. I don't know what level of theming to expect, though. But from this artwork, I hope that they do something like this with the station theming-wise. I wanted to ask you, though, since, you know, we were wondering and kind of heard ahead of time what Dorney Park, it was an open secret, basically, for all the enthusiasts. So, like, I wonder if you guys think this is going to be a destination coaster. I kind of don't feel that way. I think it fits in nicely with, like, just adding something new for the locals, basically, and for the people that are within a reasonable driving distance. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. And there go the flyers there. Actually, never been on those. But all the way in the back there is the building for Enigma. I'm assuming that this one is supposed to be included in this year's lineup, and they're not just, you know, calling it off for this end of the park. I do remember the queue being kind of split up with all of this stuff over here, and then you would enter. Very intense with the strobes and everything, and the fogs. Fog and strobes, really rough combo for a lot of people. But yeah, it looks like this is going to be part of it this year. Not too much to see here behind the walls. Just looks like they're marking the spaces where things will go and sort of tearing up, opening up the ground there. Trying to strategically avoid getting people into the shop, but there is the entrance for Necropolis. Looks like that hasn't changed too much. Hopefully the layout has changed a little bit, because I've seen scared guests just plow through the layout in a straight line, basically. Meanwhile, out here in front of Steel Forest, there are a lot of fun decorations here, lantern-looking things. And then just beyond that should be the entrance to the other maze. And sure enough, there is Trick or Treat. Usually this one isn't too backed up, isn't too bad because it's kind of out here all the way down by Steel Forest, and it is a walk. It doesn't get too crowded, I don't think. Depends on the night. Still one of the cooler looking trains in my opinion. Oh, and there it goes. So I wonder, this is where the lair was, I was wrong. So I wonder if those walls indicate this is where the lair will be. However, this is where they put all the skeletons, huh? Interesting. They kind of just line this area up and down. But as far as the lair goes, I feel like it would be up by now, no? I don't know, maybe the skeleton could tell us. Maybe he saw over the fence and saw something. I don't know. I gotta check the website because they have to have announced what their lineup is. A lot of times in previous years, they would kind of make the lair out to be a scare zone. And sometimes maybe I've seen it mentioned as a haunt itself, like a house. So I have no idea if what the plan is here. I could see them though focusing on like the front and the 4 other scare zones that we've seen. But who knows? Who's to say? Can never predict these theme parks, you know? Over here by the Dominator, that's about to go, but it is nice to see as I'm exiting Dystopia that they do have another archway with those giant LED cubes to kind of mark the entrance here as you're coming down this big hill, which we're about to go up to my dismay. Walking by the entrance there to Tourist Trap. This one usually is one of my favorites, with a second normally being Blood on the Bayou. But you know what's scarier than any of these houses are some of these hills that we have to walk back up, or grades like these. Like I have to consciously try to keep the camera level so you can just see how steep it is. Like, it's no joke. This doesn't, the camera definitely doesn't convey how steep these hills are from this point around Planet Snoopy down to where Dominator and the Dystopia Scare Zone are going to be. So I think now that we've made it up that treacherous hill, we are going to call this one here. It's been nice to kind of go around, kind of explore and see the new layout for Haunt this year. It does me a lot of good because it is only a 5-hour event. If I'm coming here opening night, that means we just got to get cracking. I got to look at the map, plan out how I'm going to hit this, and then just go. So hopefully, I mean, I like what they did with the scare zones. Changing up that layout helped a lot. Does that mean, I saw no Carnival clown presence. Does that mean Carnival is out for this year? That'll kind of be a bummer, just because I got to know a lot of those clowns and their characters. But I guess that means that leaves room for new characters to become familiar with. Any of the scare actors that might be watching this, please let me know what scare zone you're going to be in so I can say hello when I'm vlogging or taking photos. As far as Iron Menace goes, I'm looking forward to following along the construction. Hopefully it's early in 2024 where it'll be open rather than like summer. So like around the time when the season starts. But either way, looking forward to going on another dive coaster. You know that I have like some weird affection for that. I don't know where I found it from, but they always are a fun experience despite the capacity and the lines usually being pretty long. The only thing I'm a little bummed about is to see that the entertainment hasn't been spread as much. It looks like their budget was cut or something. They've had to dial it back. There's no more Illuminightmares, no musicians. Now it's a singing and dancing show to a backtrack, and then there's a skeleton crew, but I think there's no ghouling organs, and there was a couple other bits of entertainment that were planned that did not come through, that didn't happen. So I don't know what to expect this year, but it seems like just in general around Cedar Fair, they've kind of tightened their belt budget-wise when it comes to entertainment. So we'll see how in reality that plays out once the haunt starts on September 15th. But in the meantime, guys, let me know what you're excited for, what you're looking forward to the most, which house, which scare zone, and anything else you want to talk about the haunt. I'm just over here getting really amped for spooky season. I wish it would start even sooner, but I guess, you know, Labor Day is going to be that nice break in between. That's the time I'm visiting now. So anyway, all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and I hope you go make your own adventure. Bye.